Today on the Carrie Campbell Show, I have the honor and pleasure of interviewing Dena Patton, business and mindset coach for over 2 decades, speaker, author, and the founder of Girls Rule. Hi, I'm so excited for you to be here. You have no idea. Okay, so for everybody listening, what they need to understand is that we met 2 years ago. No, about a year and a half ago now.
About a year and a half.
At an event.
Yes.
And we closed the night out.
Yes.
On the rooftop. There was a party on the rooftop to close out the event.
Yeah.
And we started a conversation, like a conversation of a lifetime that went on. I think it was like for 2 hours.
Yeah.
We looked at a clock. So it was like 1 o'clock. Everybody was gone.
Everybody was gone.
It was one of those moments. And I love those moments in life when you meet someone and you just connect and you just vibe and you keep going. Yeah. But then after that, we have been doing everything in our power to reconnect. And so we've crossed paths in a couple of different environments. We've touched base here and there, but this is actually going to be our first time sitting down, reconnecting since that night.
Yes.
So thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. And I've been watching your greatness in the world.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're moving and shaking and trying to create some big change. And I think that's one of the things that you and I align on. We obviously align on a lot of different things, but your movement and your organization, Girls Rule, and then my movement, No Woman Left Behind. There's such a congruency there of, elevating generations of women. Yes. So let's start there. Mindset and business coach, amazing. Yeah. I want to actually start with the Girls Rule, with like the movement, the organization. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. I've been doing it about 14 years and started out of a passion of mine and just a calling to lift up that next generation behind us. And then as we always do in a journey, you grow, right? Mm-hmm. And I really learned that it's not just my passion. First of all, it's lots of women's passions, right? Yeah. And then I learned the need, the need for more women in leadership, more women in sports, more women in entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. We've got to have more women. Yeah. And that pipeline is girls. Mm-hmm. So I always say, the training and development of our girls is 20 years too late. Yeah. We give them tools for leadership and financial literacy and mindset and confidence at 25 and 35. Right. It should be at 12 and 15.
I could not agree more.
Right. So that's where it fuels.
Obviously I could not agree more. And I'm just going to say this here. I'm throwing this out there. So I'm just going to say it. One of the things that I'm doing inside of the No Woman Left Behind movement, right? The whole goal there is bringing elite level coaching to women globally, yes, regardless of their socioeconomic status, their struggle, their journey. But one of the things that, I told my team when we started putting this together is that every ticket to a live event sold, because we're building an app that basically is, putting AI and app and mindset tools together. So all of my tools into that app, but for every ticket sold to every live event, one app donation needs to go to a young girl. Because for me, it's then we're raising 2 generations at a time. And I couldn't agree more with you. And obviously what you do with Girls Rule, I'm sure is so much more than just mindset. Right. Oh yeah. But we're not given that in school. I always say school doesn't teach us how to human. We're not prepared for any of that stuff. So I love, your vision. And I've been trying, that's another thing we've been trying to get aligned with. I wanted to come to summer camp, 2 summers in a row. Right. But that said, I love your vision for that. So tell me, what does it look like? I mentioned summer camp. Yep. What is available to girls inside of the group?
Our summer camp is our longest program. It's a 7-day leadership entrepreneur summer camp in Northern Arizona. And it is based in our 3 pillars. So it's financial literacy. I'm not kidding. Those girls leave with more financial literacy than their parents.
Amazing.
Not kidding.
So important.
They start a business and sell a business in 7 days. And we teach them our self-esteem, confidence, skill sets, and then our 12 leadership principles. So it's our most robust program. It is unbelievable. And ironically, I was cleaning out my office the other day and I came across this letter. And I'll tell you just a little bit of backstory that my co-founder in Girls Rule died in year 1 of Girls Rule. Mm-hmm. And I started a scholarship program, our Laura Anderson Scholarship Fund. And I always tried to keep that fund funded because every single program we produce, we always scholarship girls to it. Yeah. So to our summer camp, we always scholarship 2 girls. And I found this letter the other day from this girl named Maddie, who came on scholarship when she was in 8th grade. And this is 7 years ago. We've done 10 years of camp.
Amazing.
7 years ago. And it was this long letter of how much it not only changed her life, her choices, her family, the whole thing.
Wow.
So it was just, sometimes you have to look at those kind of letters or those moments or those testimonials and go, this is work that you just don't even know the ripple effect.
Totally.
Where is she today, right?
Totally.
So many of our girls, we've been doing it for 14 years. They're CEOs, they're moms, they're leaders. They're back. One of the girls that one of our scholarship winners is now a nurse, but now an ER nurse, but also teaches at GCU nursing. So she's giving back. And I mean, you just don't even know, right?
I'm getting total flashbacks to that night on the balcony.
Yeah.
Because this is what we did. We just went, you said something, then I said something, then you said something. And like, that's how we ended up being there till 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Because you were just reminded, like for me, that level of impact is everything.
Yeah.
You know, I was sitting in an airport, I don't know, maybe like 6 or 7 months ago. And I used to work with teens, and I used to run a fitness room in a high school.
Yes. And
I'm sitting down at the hotel, at the bar working, and this woman slides in next to me, and she just turns to me and she's like, "Did you used to run the fitness room at Lindsay Place High School?" And I was like, "I did." And it's 15 years. And she was like, "That was the best part of my day."
Right.
And I think like what you said is like, you have to stop and read those letters and remember those moments, because, you know, in the hustle and bustle of, I mean, you're an entrepreneur, you get it, you know, you're building, you're growing, you're shifting, you're changing, but it's so easy to forget what you're actually doing at the core.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love
and
that.
it was one of those moments, because we actually just came off of our 3-day mother-daughter camp. And it was about 2 weeks before that. And you know, when you're producing events, it's a lot of moving pieces. It's, all the things. And so I can get consumed. And this is my philanthropy. This is where my money and my time go. Yeah. And so when you're in the heat of events and then you come across a letter that says, "You've changed my life for the rest of my life," you're just like, that's what I'm doing it for. Yeah. And one of my favorite girls from camp 6 years ago now works for me. She does our social media. So that full circle moment of a girl that went through college, is a communication degree, and now back with us doing our communication. Gosh, it's just beautiful to see it.
It is. Yeah. So I'm curious to know, obviously, you know, you mindset coach and business coach as well. What is the balance there between Girls Rule and your coaching? How much, like, what's the time variable, like energy? What does that look like?
It's very interesting because it took me years to figure that out. And before COVID, I will say we had a staff, and we had 15 people on a board and 3 staff people. And COVID pretty much put a lot of small nonprofits out of business. Right. Growing that back, it is a very small volunteer only team right now. And so I had to really look at that. And I think that I really believe in philanthropy. I am a small business coach that almost every single one of my clients, they have a philanthropy piece, right? They don't own their own nonprofit, but they choose that nonprofit that's aligned to them, that they feel passionate about, and they give money and time, right? And I think it's really, really important.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So I had to find my balance, but it looks about 30 hours a week. I'm in my coaching and speaking, and then about 10 hours in Girls Rule.
Okay. That's, I don't know why I think when I think about the organization Girls Rule, I just assume it's so, like, takes so much time. Yeah. Because I know the involvement that goes into that. Right. Yeah. So that's, I love that. That's amazing. I had like 8 different thoughts as you were talking. So I was like, boom, 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 boom. No, I'm like, which one am I going to grab and go with is what I'm trying to decide. Cause I too, like you, I believe in volunteer philanthropy. Yeah. Like, I'm very involved with the Alice Cooper Teen Center here in Arizona. Yes. And when I'm home, I'm there twice a week. So I am just so in alignment with everything you said. So let's bring it back now. Just tell me a little bit about your business coaching, your speaking. Yeah. How did you get into that? You know, but before we get into more about like Dena, the woman, who knows where we're going with this, right?
I don't know.
You never know.
Well, I've been a business and mindset coach for 24 years. And I really started my first business in New York City. It was a PR and marketing company. And I love storytelling. So that PR marketing element was a real passion of mine, getting people's brand and stories out in the world. But I was right in that time of my life. What happened was I wasn't taking care of myself. So all the things that in business that you have to learn, the hard lessons, like don't say yes to everybody.
For sure.
Don't work yourself to death. So at 27, I had a minor stroke that really derailed me. And it really brought in how do I say this? It brought in my reflection of how off the track I was. And through my recovery, I had to learn how to speak again, and just recovery of 6 months, I really understood that I wasn't using my gifts and greatness how God wanted me to use them.
Okay.
And so I was very blessed. I sold that company. And then I started this coaching and training company, and it's been 24 years. And it is a totally different company because I can work one-on-one with business owners, one-on-one with CEOs, and help them with their alignment. You know that, the alignment of a business, the mindset and leadership piece, and then the sales piece is huge. Most small businesses, their sales system, sales pipeline, all of that is really wonky.
Right.
You got to get that really tight. And then systems. And one of the things that I learned about systems is, 24 years ago, systems weren't so hot, right?
Yeah.
Today, we have automation, we have all kinds of tools, right, that we can use. But if you don't have them in your business, they can't work for you, right? Yeah. And I think it's important because I'm a real advocate for what I call CEO self-care, is as a business owner, you better be taking care of yourself, mind, body, spirit,
100%,
or you're going to implode.
100%. I did this with one of my, I work as a chief culture officer, a fractional chief culture officer for a wellness clinic in California. And I actually just pulled the CEO and the founder out like 2 weeks ago. And I was like, okay, the team is fine. You need to get your ass down here because we need to do some self-care on you. And it's so true because you're busy, you're building, you're growing, you're doing this, and it's hard to take your foot off the gas pedal, but you don't realize that if you're not taking care of yourself, you've got your foot on the gas pedal and the brake pedal at the same time, right? Yes. So I love that. So let me ask, because obviously we're so aligned in so many different ways. And mindset, as much as everybody approaches it a little differently, I love saying we're all DJs, not artists. Right. Everything's kind of just a variance, right? Yes. So one of the things that I love diving into is the whole concept of identity and how we have to transform our identities in our lifetime. And the funny thing is, the older I get, it's like I rapid cycle through identity shifting. It's like every month I'm like a new person because I feel like I can just master through and grow so much quicker. But, you're talking about CEOs and people and, CEOs who have an identity around, themselves, and when they retire, and yourself as like the old business owner versus who you are now. Right. Speak to me about how you see identity from a mindset standpoint in your practice and how you approach it.
Yeah. It's such a good question because as we grow our businesses, we grow, right? And I believe that your business can only grow as much as you grow, right? So if someone comes to me and they're like, I am stuck. I'm stuck at 3 million. I'm stuck at 10 million. I'm stuck at 50 million. It doesn't matter the number. I've been at this. My business has been at this for how many years? Their mindset is stuck at that, for sure. So when you grow your mindset and your identity, then your business can grow, right? So what I see is them stuck in old identities, old beliefs, right? And without that mindset identity work, they're just trying to fix like the systems or the brand or all this external stuff because they don't want to do the work. Right. And so if you are willing to do the inner work, your business can be as big as you want it to be. Right. So for me, my framework is what I call greatness coaching. And my book is The Greatness Game. And so you're either playing a greatness game or a smallness game. And your mindset, your smallness mindset is really, and you know this, is there to keep you in old identities, keep you in comfort zone, right? House of comfort is what I call it. Yeah. And greatness mindset is there to help move you to the house of courage, right? Yeah. And courage is what if you follow me, you know that courage is one of my favorite words because it is the thing that gets you out of the house of smallness, the house of safety, the house of survival, and comfort zone, and starts moving you to this new identity, new mindset. It's courage, right? Yeah. And when we lose that, we go back. Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. You know, and what I love about that is that I think for everyone listening, understanding that courage comes after you've pushed through the fear. Right. Because the fear comes and then it's that like, you have to jump, you have to take that leap. And that's where that courage moment comes. Yes. And I don't know, speak to this for me, everything in life is a practice. And so for me, the more times you practice leaping, the more practiced you become at courage. Yes. It's not like I say it about self-love. You don't arrive at self-love. Oh yeah. Life is a continual journey of self-love. Yes. So speak to like the whole notion of like practicing courage, how you see practice, how you see people mastering that.
Yeah. So I am passionate about practicing becomes mastering. Yeah. What you're practicing, you're mastering. And I could say to everybody, you have a whole bunch of things already mastered, right? In your life, in your parenting, in your money, in your career, you have a whole bunch of things. But then there's a whole other, list of things that you need to start practicing and mastering to get to the next level. Yeah. But next level, next devil. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Every time we go to the next level of our life, our business, there's a devil, right? That challenge that wants to hit you back down. Yeah. And so when you know that it and you're prepared for that, then you approach it differently, right? Versus like, oh my gosh, it's out of nowhere and it knocked me back down. Right. It's
almost like you know it's coming.
You know the right hook's coming, so you can duck, right? Yeah. So it's this whole journey of evolving and next level mindset, identity. It's very hard to do by yourself. Yeah. I find, you need either a coach, an accountability buddy, because it's so easy to slip back into those 100%, right? Yeah. Like it's so weird how we're wired for that safety and that comfort, and you have to overcome it. It's just a complete practice every day.
100%. Right. Yeah. So, every single day. Yeah. Waking up and wash, rinse, repeat every single day. Yeah.
So one of my little tips around that, what I say is, you're going to hear your smallness every day. It's going to feed you the lies, feed you the negativity. It's up to you to turn that down. Right. And the more you master turning that down, the more you can master listening to your greatness. Right. So that's just a little tip of like, every time that smallness comes and wants to derail you, hit you, lie to you, you have to have the discipline to say, you don't serve me for where I am going. I do not need you, turn you down. Yeah. And then you're listening to the greatness. And it's hard to do that in the moment, right? Sure. But the more you practice it, the more you master it. 30, 60 days, you have your greatness mastered. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Off and running.
I'm smiling over here for so many reasons. Number one is as you were speaking, you just reminded me that you're the one who I first heard say new levels, new devils. Yes. You said it on stage at No. New levels, new devils. And I use that all the time. And as a matter of fact, just this week, I was referencing that because, as I'm growing and expanding, we're always growing and expanding. Yeah. I actually referenced to someone. I'm like, new levels, new devils. It's just what happens. Right. And you kind of start to get used to that. Right. Yeah. So I was like full circle in this moment. I'm like, oh yeah, that's where I heard that from. Yes. But one of the things, and it's funny because I just told my client the other day, like, turn the dial down. We have the same. It's so crazy how we are so synergetic.
You have to.
But let me ask you this. Do you remember? So one of the things that I know happened in my world, and I know you well enough to know that you've probably experienced this, is as I kept mastering, and will always and forever keep mastering. Yes. Like my inside joke is that I'm going to die the most enlightened motherfucker on the planet because I'm just going to keep going. Yes. Right. But so I hit a moment where it was impossible for me not to hear the self-sabotage. Like, like people they're unconsciously incompetent. They don't know what they don't know until they know it. Yes. And so they have to really work to listen and turn and how to do that. But I hit this point where even if I wanted to ignore it, I couldn't ignore it anymore.
Yeah.
And so that gave me permission to kind of like, well, I'm going to sit in this or I'm going to get unstuck. Like I always say, like, I can't stay stuck.
Yeah.
So I will align myself. I'll realign as quickly as I can. And that's only something that you can get through practice and mastery.
Yeah.
I know that, like for everybody out there who's listening,
right,
that you don't just wake up that. But do you remember in your world when that started to happen and like what your experience was with that you kind of realized like, I have mastered a level that I actually don't know how to stay stuck anymore.
Right. Right. And it's almost like there's moments where you're, I don't know about you, but there's moments that I'm like, gosh, I wish I never did this work. And I'm just that
totally
dumb, naive person.
Yeah, I'll be like, some days I'm like, why do I have these goals?
Right. So, I mean, here's the thing. Smallness will always, it's not that it goes away. It will always be there. You just master it, right?
Yes.
So that's the game. That's the greatness game, right? And so I have so much mastered in my mindset and my goals and this designing a life that you love. And smallness shows up every day and I have that choice to turn it down, right? I just have that mastered. I look back on my first business and that smallness just derailed me every day. It would come up, I would listen to it, and then off I would go into negativity or I can't, right? Yeah. So it sabotaged my life a lot before because you know better, do better, right? Yeah. So I do think every master was once a disaster. And
so well said.
Right.
Like I'm going to use that one too now.
Right. Like I'm always trying to master something right now. Right. Yeah. So we're planning a trip for International Day of the Girl for Girls Rule to New York City to take a group picture with the Fearless Girl statue, right? And I'm trying to get 200 people to show up on that day, on International Day of the Girl for that picture, right? What does my smallness have to say about that? Won't work. No one's going to show up, right? It's there, but I have to go, you don't serve me for where I am going, turn you down, right? Yeah.
I love it. Okay. I want to flip for a second. This is a little bit of a soapbox of mine because you said, your smallness says, how am I going to do this, et cetera, et cetera. And as you were saying that, my mind flipped to a lot of the world of personal development that we see on social media now, the gurus who are preaching, just choose happy, right? Just let it go. Yes. Just do this and just do that. And I have a really big, discomfort with that because what people who are just preaching that, what they don't understand is the neurology behind change, right? And that there's actually a process to change. And,
absolutely.
And I see it as it's actually weakening us as human beings and not strengthening us because every time someone looks at you and says, well, just choose differently. Right. And then you can't choose differently without giving the tools and the strategies. It's like, well, you just buried that person even deeper underneath their story. So when you look at the industry, when you look at the personal development industry right now, and so far as
I know where you're going, girl.
All of this, everybody's a mindset guru. Everybody's this. I walked 20 miles and now I'm a mindset coach. And I think everybody should go out there and should create change. I think it's ridiculously dangerous to spew information like that without understanding the back end of it. So speak to that because I feel like we have the same. I feel like we have the same soapbox on this one.
Well, I mean. Because I'm a coach and a speaker and an author, it only compounds itself, right? So 24 years coaching, 14 years speaking, and then 9 years with my book, my mindset book. And all that time, more people are coming into the industry. And then you have social media, the one-offs. And it's really dangerous, right? Because what you said is really important is they hear one little thing, right? They don't understand there's 5 other steps before that. Right. They can't do that one thing. And then what happens is you're buried in shame. And then shame is a paralyzer. The moment you're in shame, then you're ashamed that you're shaming yourself and you're paralyzed, right? Yeah. And you get more deep into that sabotage. So I think the intention is good, but I think the execution is bad, right? And so you have to know there's psychology and frameworks and steps to everything. Yeah. And I think that's where I've had a couple quitting moments where I'm like, I don't want to be a coach anymore. Like, I don't want to be a part of this. Right. But if the good coaches leave,
Then
right?
all we're left is
then all that's left is those one-offs, right?
Yeah.
So as long as I can be in it, I'll be in it. But it is hurtful. And I think people need to know, take it as a piece of inspiration, and that's what it is, maybe in that moment.
Yeah.
So, and I don't want to say there's no value to it, because there's value to everything, but you got to know it's a piece of the pie.
Right. It's a fragment of the whole story.
Right.
It's exactly what I say. It's like, I always say positive affirmations don't work for most people.
Right.
Because most people who are trying to put a positive affirmation on a really, really negative mindset.
Right.
Like I have this story. I still like cringe when I hear this story. A client of mine, I've worked with her for 15 years, and her counselor told her, she had horrible self-image. And like this woman actually had like real issues with her image, like some issues with her teeth,
right.
And her counselor said, I want you to stand in front of the mirror every day and say, I look beautiful.
Right.
I am beautiful. And she told me she spent basically 10 weeks crying every morning in the mirror.
Yeah.
And what people don't understand is that like that's creating cognitive dissonance, right? Your belief of how you see yourself in that positive affirmation, there's too much of a gap, and it's actually burying you deeper.
Right.
So for me, it's like these bite-sized morsels that are out there.
Yeah.
I love what you said, because I always say, use it as information or inspiration.
Yeah.
Like, is this information that you can take and you're going to apply, or an inspired moment to catalyze change?
Right.
So I mean, I'm not surprised we see it the same way, but it's definitely I use the word dangerous, and I actually mean that. It's dangerous.
I do too, because they are getting a piece, but if you don't know it's just a piece, then it becomes dangerous.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and as a speaker, I mean, I speak all over the world, and I see speakers doing the same thing. They're giving a piece of the pie, not everything, but not framing it as a piece of the pie.
Right.
As a speaker, you can only do so much in 30 minutes or 20 minutes, right? But you've got to remember saying, this is a piece of the pie, a piece of this framework, or a piece, this is 5 steps or whatnot. But I think that's where you get into danger.
You do. I always say it on stage. I always say, like, I'm going to give you everything I can, but you need to know I'm not going to fix you.
Right.
In 20 minutes.
No,
right.
I'm going to give you a piece.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So let's talk vision for a second. Again, I'm sure you're a huge believer in vision.
Yes.
And let's go this way first. Let's talk with your personal vision, personal business vision, you in the next 10 years. Where is Dena going? What are you doing? What are you building? Where do you see yourself?
Yeah. So I'm actually transitioning in January will be 25 years of coaching. And what my percentage is right now is 80% one-on-one coaching, and then 20% camps and retreats and events, right? That's going to move. So I'm going to do about 60% live events, retreats, camps. I own Camp CEO. So it's a 3-day camp of camp shenanigans during the day, masterminding and speaking at night, fun. Those kind of, and then my workshop. So I want to go more in real life events, 60%, and then keep 40% coaching. I also want to own some kind of retreat house. I'm looking at cities, like, is that going to be international? Like, I'm looking at Florence, Italy, but I'm also looking at Flagstaff, right?
Right.
So something like that, where it's a cohort of retreat facilitators that co-own something. So that's part of my vision.
Amazing.
Getting my TED Talk is in my vision.
I love it.
But just keep doing the work. And I think that I'm super passionate about women and girls, especially. I have a lot of male clients, and I love them, but I have such a heart to advance women and girls.
Yeah. So I'm curious, because this came up as a conversation on another podcast. We were talking about how, like, I was even mentioning that when I started branching out solely into the women area, I got kind of a little bit of backlash from some of my male tribe members. Like, what about us?
Yeah.
And the women's movement, like, there's so much political involvement when we're talking about being very isolated to women. Have you talk to me about why women for you and how, because you're a very strong woman. I know you're, I always say that I'm all about women, but not at the expense of men.
Right.
So talk to me about why women, why did you go that route?
Yeah.
How do you just talk to me about that.
Yeah. I think first and foremost, it was a spiritual calling. Yeah. It really was a God thing that really came into my stroke recovery. That's what I just heard, women and girls. So that kind of led me to that. And I think that was the beginning. But what I've learned is, I mean, I love it. And I truly believe the world needs more women in entrepreneurship, sports, and business.
Yeah.
We solve problems differently. But here's the thing. I love men. Men are our allies. We need men. I have a kind of a problem with the word feminist. I just don't use it.
Yeah.
And, people think girls rule. I'm an automatic feminist. I actually don't use that word at all.
Yeah.
Because I think there is a negative, like we hate men or we blame men, you know? And I just don't feel like that. I'm like, listen, we are in this together. And so I love, in Girls Rule, we have amazing dads that support our work. We have amazing donors who are men. I just believe that men are our allies, right?
I'm with you. I'm totally with you.
Yeah. And I love my male clients too, but I just, as far as advancing women and girls in the world, our voices, our gifts, our leadership.
Couldn't agree more.
I'm in.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we could obviously sit here and talk for another 3 hours. Let's do this before we wrap. First of all, how about you tell everybody where we can find you? Let's start there. So Instagram, LinkedIn, how do we find you?
Super. Well, easiest is my website, denapatton.com.
There you go.
And you can find all my socials there. But Instagram is Dena Marie Patton.
Awesome.
You got to get that in there. But yeah, try those two.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The other day, someone asked me for my Instagram, and I was like, I don't remember.
Right. I know.
I had to look it up before the camera. I was like, I got to get better at that.
Yeah.
So okay, let's close out with let's go in. All in for women. The women who are listening right now. The ones who are playing small and something sparked inside of them as they were listening, and you talked about the smallness talking, the greatness available to you. What would you say to that woman who is listening right now? Like final thoughts, what would you tell her?
I would say that you are worth it, that you have incredible gifts, that you are so much further than you think you know, right?
Yeah.
And to continue the journey that you're on and keep reflecting. I think the reflection piece is where I really believe in alignment, and keep being on your path and surround yourself with women who are also on the journey. I think that's a really underrated thing is you can't do this journey alone.
Yeah.
Be in a community, do it with friends, find a coach. I don't care, but don't isolate yourself.
Yeah.
Because the quitting moments come and then you don't have a community around you.
Okay. That was beautiful. And I'm going to throw in one last question.
Okay.
And this is potentially a controversial question right now in our world. What do you think about the people who are leaning into chat as their person? Chat GPT.
Oh my gosh. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Listen, I love chat for resources and research. And it's awesome for many things. It can't be your person. It can't be your therapy.
Have you seen that?
It can't be. Yeah. I actually did a LinkedIn of, if you look me up on LinkedIn, I do a whole article on chat or your coach, because there's people who are like, I don't need a coach anymore. I have chat. I'm like, no. The nuance, the power of having a coach is the nuances that a coach can 100%. See you.
Yeah.
There's the spiritual side, the sabotaging, right?
Yeah.
The chat just doesn't have what you need.
Yeah.
It can be a little rah cheerleader.
For sure.
I get it,
Yeah.
but you can't replace. It can't be your person.
I mean, I'm not surprised that was your answer. This has been a conversation I've had a lot lately, because I know a lot of people who are starting to lean into it as their person, their confidant, their coach, and I think it's dangerous. Clearly, you agree. So everybody out there listening, just be mindful of how you're using Chat GPT.
100%.
Let me just say that. Okay. With that said, I mean, this was amazing. I'm not surprised. I wish we could have gone for another hour.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Everybody out there, I just hope all the women take every word that you said and they apply it to their life. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. This is not just a podcast. It's a call to rise, because the world doesn't change when we wait. It changes when we choose. So share this inspiration, tag me at the Carrie Campbell _experience, and bring the women who refuse to be left behind. Until we meet again, hold the vision, trust the process, commit to today, and let's redefine, reclaim, and rise together.